Welcome to AGR Book Talk. I'm Dr. Felicia J. Lindsey, your host, fellow book lover and passionate advocate for storytelling in all its forms. Whether you're a reader, a writer, a book influencer, a podcaster, a bookstore owner, or someone who simply loves the magic of great stories, we're so glad you're here. Subscribe, follow, and join us on this journey. Engage with us on social media, share your favorite reads, and let's build a community that celebrates books in the most unique and exciting ways. New episodes drop regularly, so don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button, follow us on your favorite platform, and let's turn every page into an adventure together. Thanks for tuning in. Now, let's talk books. Hello, we are here today with Porsché Mysticque Steele. Awesome as she is a book coach. She's a speaker. She also has her own publishing company. She has done many things in her time, and I just want you guys to take in everything that she has to give. First off, I want you to tell them a little bit about your journey. I know you grew up in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
I love Pittsburgh. You got to give everybody a little background on where you grew up and what brought you to where you are now, the phenomenal woman that you are now.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. So I grew up in Pittsburgh. I had an amazing childhood. I've always been the sprite little girl that's all over the place that always needs to steal the spotlight. Unfortunately, that was me being the middle child. I needed that. I craved that spotlight.
I understand.
That's always kind of just been who I am. Like you mentioned, I'm an award-winning book coach, TEDx speaker, independent publishing expert. I started my company, Mysticque Publishing, in 2021. At the time, I was living in Nigeria. So my husband is Nigerian, so I lived in Nigeria for 4 years. Currently, I'm in Southern California, where I spend my time doing professional speaking. I still do book coaching and book publishing, but I've added some other things to my roster. So luckily, I'm also the editor-in-chief of a local magazine here in SoCal.
So what's the name of the magazine? What's the name of that local?
The Hidden Mind publication. So we focus on storytelling as it is, which is funny that's kind of my background, but we focus on storytelling and understanding the story behind the businesses. So I do that. How I got here, it's kind of a crazy story. When I was 16, my parents moved me and the rest of my family from Pittsburgh. We moved to California. But at that time, some crazy things had happened. My father turned our family into a cult-like environment. So for 10 years, from 2009 to 2019, me, my siblings, my mom, we were all unfortunately trapped in this house. We couldn't escape. I wasn't allowed to go to school. I wasn't allowed to date. I wasn't allowed to do anything. I graduated from a virtual school. But I still did pretty well, but I wasn't allowed to go to college. So I wasn't doing anything with my time, but I would sneak online at night while the rest of the house was sleeping. And it was a large house. There were about 9 of us in the house. While the rest of the house was sleeping, I would sleep.
That had to be fun.
Yeah, no.
Well, brothers and sisters. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of siblings, but we did the best that we could from what we had, but we still experienced all levels of abuse. So my form of escape was reading books online. But of course I didn't have money to buy any of the books. So I had to read the ones that were technically unpublished, but uploaded online to platforms like Wattpad and Goodreads. Fell in love with them, fell in love with these stories that taught me about the world that I was being kept from. But I've always been kind of a grammar police kind of person. So these books that were just thrown up online were filled with errors. I'm like, listen, I can't. I'm reading this, but I can't because there's so many errors. So because I wasn't doing anything else with my time, I had reached out to the authors and I was like, hey, can I edit this? Like, I'm bored. I'm probably going to spend the rest of my life in this situation. Let me just make the most out of it. And they were like, yeah, I mean, because who's going to say no to free editing, right?
Right.
Well, I edited them, and right around 2014, I had found myself on a language exchange website. And that's where I met a man from Nigeria. And he had told me, he was like, you can make tons of money off of this. And I was like, you don't say. So I created an Upwork profile and I became a freelance editor. And so I started earning money editing content for companies.
Yes.
And then eventually I moved into editing for books, like for independent authors. So I did editing and I did ghostwriting, and then I moved into self-publishing. But I was doing all of that while, the rest of the house didn't know. So this man, I ended up falling hard and fast in love with him. And I had earned a significant amount of money. And my older sister at the time, she was like, Porsché, I can't do this. Like, we gotta get out of here. And I was like, listen, ma'am, I have the secret business that I've been running. I got like 14 grand in a PayPal account and a man on the outside. So let's go. So that was July 11th of 2019. Me and my older sister, we left. She fled to Indiana. I went to Nigeria to see the guy. He proposed to me the day that I arrived. I said yes. We've been married for 5 years now. And while in Nigeria, I established my whole identity. I built my brand over there. I built my business while I was living there, though it's a US-based business, but I created it while I was there. I delivered my TEDx talk while in Nigeria. I became an award-winning book coach while living in Nigeria. So everything happened while I was there.
Why leave Nigeria? It seemed like it was pouring into you.
It was, but I needed to take my speaking career to the next level. And my husband's a medical professional. So as a radiological technologist, there aren't a lot of jobs for him over there. So I could work from anywhere in the world, but he can't. So we had to make the decision to pivot and leave the country in order to work. And then we can go back for vacation and even retirement and things like that. So now I'm focusing on my speaking career and still working on books, but I get to be more intentional about the types of authors that I work with, the types of book projects that I work on, and helping business owners grow and scale their businesses with their books. So I get to do that while my husband does what he does, and it works out.
Now, when did you write The CEO Author?
Oh man, that was in 2023. Beginning to mid 2023 is when I started writing it. I published it in May of 2023, actually on my mom's birthday. And then I launched it August of 2023.
Okay. Now, did you self-publish that, or did you go through a publishing company, or did you self-publish through your publishing company?
There it is. So I self-published through my publishing company. So one of the things that I often teach people, and this is why I work mostly with entrepreneurs and business owners, is because when you own a legal entity in the US, whether it's an LLC or an S Corp or whatever, if you own a legal entity, you can publish your book through your company. And all of the investment that you put into it, all of that is classified as business expense. So you can write off your entire book project. And so, of course, that's exactly what I did. So my company, Mysticque Rose Publishing, we're a service provider. We're not a publishing house. So we don't own any of the books that we work on. We do the production work. And then I, as a coach, help them get it out there and help them make money. So that's what I did with my book. So I launched my book with an event that generated $30,000 with that single event. And all of that was, I found different ways to write it off and do some fun stuff because it was all happening through my business. But
now,
it was
what did you do with the launch? You got to tell us more about it. We didn't get to go.
I know, right? So the idea, this was a strategy that me and my marketing team had actually come up with. So this is what I call the 5-figure launch method. And basically what most people do when they create a book, they put together a celebratory party, right? Just a party to say, hey, look, I have a book. Come, let's celebrate me, which is beautiful. I think that's a great thing. But those types of events actually cost you money and you don't make any money on the back end.
Now
so what if instead of celebrating you and celebrating your book, you celebrate the people that the book was written for, your audience. So I turned my book into a virtual summit. The CEO author, let me show you. So the CEO author is The Business Owner's Guide to Expanding Your Thought Leadership with a Book. So I took this book and I turned it into the CEO Author Summit. And it was a summit where I invited some of my speaker friends who were all bigger, badder, faster, stronger than me in their businesses, right? They have audiences larger than me. I said, hey, can you come and share some wisdom with my audience? So I had 5 speakers. We all showed up that day. And then what we did was, this event was totally free, believe it or not. But I had 4 call to actions, or 4 revenue streams, if you will. So the first revenue stream was for people to upgrade their ticket. So you had a free ticket, but you can upgrade to $47. I had about 70 people do that. Yes. Then the call to action during the event was buy the book. Hey, did you know that this event that you're attending is just a live version of this book? Go and buy it. It's $12.99. So I had just about 70 something people go buy the book for $12.99. Then the third revenue stream was I had a workbook that went with it. The workbook is $17. So I was like, go buy the workbook. And that was about, I had maybe about 50 people do that. Then the final call to action, which really brought in the most money, was, hey, if you're loving this information, if you're loving where this is going, book a call with me and let's talk about how to get you to the next level. So I had 22 people book a call and 8 of them became clients of mine. So because of all of those different revenue streams, that day I had made about 20,000. And then over time, over the next 3 months, I rolled out a lead magnet, I rolled out a masterclass, and I rolled out live speaking and live training, all from the information from this book. So I didn't even reinvent the wheel, okay? I just took the information right from my book, and I created all these additional assets. So from August 19th to December 19th of 2023, I'd made $37,000 in revenue.
Now, everybody need to pay attention to everything that she said and make sure they get the book. And go to your website. I mean, because like you said, when I did my little book, most everybody I know, it is a celebration of what you did. I loved how you turned that around and basically got an audience for the book and then made money from your book and got more people basically to do their dream too, to have their books and have their books make money. So you did tenfold.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Now, how do people get in contact with you to be a part of your book coaching, and how do they get in contact with you to be a part of the publishing company if they just wanted the production side published?
Yeah. So it'll really come down to having a discussion to see where they are and see if I can help them. As I mentioned, I'm quite intentional about the book projects that I work on. So it all starts with let's get on a call. Let's see kind of where you are, what you got going on, and if I can support you. If I can't, I have a Rolodex of people who are friends of mine or who I trust that I can kind of send their way. So the best way to do that is to text the word book to 909-837-4992. That's my number. If you text that, the word book, I'll know that they're coming from your podcast. So there's that. I know that they're coming from that podcast. And then what we'll do is we'll kind of conversate through text. And then if I feel like it's a good fit, then I'm going to send them a link to hop on a Zoom with me.
Now that sounds good. Now, one more question. When I looked at everything you have done, I was amazed. I was like, she's super young and she's already did a TED Talk. I mean, how did you even decide, okay, I'm going to do a TED Talk today? How did you come to that conclusion?
Well, I think I've always been the type of person that if I see something that I like, I'm going to have it. I'm not very good at being told no. If I can be honest, I'm not very good at being told no. So I'm very used to, after leaving that situation, once me and my sister escaped, I was very intentional about how I'm going to spend my time, who I'm going to be, and how I'm going to show up, right? So everything was just a matter of choice. So it would just happen one day that I was on Clubhouse. I don't know if people remember the app.
Remember Clubhouse? Yes.
So I was on Clubhouse and I was listening to a woman speak, and I loved hearing the sound of her voice. And she was like, she was a curator for TEDx Youth. And I was like, huh. And she said, I can help you get on the TEDx stage. And I was like, okay, well, this sounds like something I would want to do. So I signed up for her masterclass, and it was so awesome to kind of see how she painted the picture of how you can deliver a TEDx talk and what it would do for your business and your brand. So I signed up to work with her. Her name is Elaine Powell. She's been in my life for forever now. So that was how it started. She's one of my closest people who I love. But at the time, I didn't know her and she didn't know me. But I was like, listen, ma'am, I'm going to give you my money and you're going to teach me everything that you know because I want this. And ain't nobody going to tell me I can't have it. So let's do this. So I signed up to work with her. I started working with her October of 2022. But no, sorry, excuse me, October 2020. Oh, I'm getting it all backwards. It may have been October 2022. By January of 2023, I was notified that I was selected for TEDx.
That is great. Now, how did it feel? How did it feel? How did you prepare? Just a little bit, just a little bit.
Preparation was crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Because you have to not only write your speech, but you have to memorize it because you're not allowed to have notes, okay? And there's no teleprompter or anything. So when you watch a TEDx talk on YouTube, just know that every person had to memorize that. That was the biggest thing, was memorizing my talk. But the whole process, Elaine walked me through it, and she had a guy, his name is Guy Doza, also super close to my heart, but he's a speechwriter. And he helped me kind of whittle down my talk so that it would fit in the window that they gave us and make it powerful. So that was beautiful. When I delivered my talk, oh my God, Dr. Felicia, when I tell you, standing on that red dot was probably one of the most surreal moments of my life. Because I'm standing up there and I'm looking at the audience. And this is the first physical stage I've ever been on. Any other talks that I gave, they were all virtual, right? Because I was living in Nigeria. So I'm talking to people in the US all from my computer. So this is the first physical stage I'm on. And I'm looking out at the audience and I'm just seeing all these people staring at me. And I'm like, you know what, little girl? This is me talking to my inner self. You know what, little girl? You asked to be here. You said you wanted to be here. So you better get up there and you give them everything they're expecting from you.
That's right.
Okay. And then Elaine, just before I got on stage, I was on a call with Elaine, and she does what she calls clearing calls. So she clears you. So she says, who do you want to be for your audience? Who do you want them to be to you? And who are they? So by answering those questions, I was like, I want to be powerful. I want to be their friend. I want them to see me as their friend. And I want them to walk away feeling inspired, empowered, and ready to take action. So I go up there. I'm literally, my legs are shaking. You can't see it, but my legs are shaking. And I deliver the talk, and afterwards, all these people came up to me and they were talking about how they felt like God put me in that room for them, and it was exactly what they needed to hear in that moment. And that being the first stage that I've been on was absolutely incredible. But I've heard that afterwards. So after I delivered my TEDx talk, completely changed my career. People were hiring me just because they knew I was a TEDx speaker. The video wasn't even out yet. That was all I needed to say, was I was a TEDx speaker and they were hiring me. But it allowed me to hone my skills as a speaker. And so now I often hear those phrases like, God put you in that room. And it overwhelmed me at the time. But now it's like, I get it now. I get it. So one of the most remarkable moments of my life, for sure.
Just hearing about it, to be honest with you, I got scared. A red dot, me standing there and trying to talk for a long period of time, that sounds scary to me. But I thought about doing a little Toastmasters so I could at least get myself used to speaking for long periods of time, speaking with people, because you flow very eloquently, and that's an awesome thing. But you had to be able to stand there for that long period of time.
14 minutes, but they give you up to 18.
Now, my other question is, how did you know to basically strategize that way, to set up your systems that way for your business? Did it all just start to flow and you figured it out piece by piece? Or did you research and you already knew how you wanted to set your business up to be able to be a speaker, to be able to help business professionals, or it just was a niche that you fell into and you liked how you worked with those in that particular profession?
Yeah, it was a bit of trial and error, I would say. When I started in the publishing space, I was working with all types of authors.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I knew my time and my information was valuable, and I knew that people would be willing to pay for it. But when I was working with fiction authors or children books authors, these
Mm-hmm.
individuals just have regular 9 to 5s and they want to publish great books, but they're not willing to invest to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I had realized that what I have to offer is huge, right? And I know that the right person would see value in it and be willing to pay what I'm worth. So I had to let go of the fiction authors who just had a bleeding heart and a huge passion, a deep passion for their books,
Mm-hmm.
but they are not in a position to take it seriously. They're just going to write the book and hope for the best, and that's it. But that doesn't actually help. In order for your book to be successful, you do have to invest in it. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, just the simple truth. And they weren't willing to do that. So I was like, okay, how can I find an audience that's going to take me seriously and recognize the value that I have? Turns out that it was entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Anybody who had an entrepreneurial mindset would understand the importance of investing in the success of their book. Because if they don't, they're going to get a book that looks like it was DIY. It's going to be like, the cousin who said, oh yeah, my book is on Amazon. And then you go look at it on Amazon and you're going to be like, yeah, it looked like you put that book on Amazon by yourself. Right.
I have seen that.
So I knew that entrepreneurs, these are the individuals that really care about market research. They care about creating a book that serves a very specific audience. And so I found that it was nonfiction books that I could do that with, that the world's most impactful books are simply solutions to the problems that people have. And nonfiction books solve problems. So
Mm-hmm.
not only did I find out that the entrepreneur who wrote a book is willing to pay my price, but they're also perfectly positioned to generate a ridiculous amount of revenue. Nonfiction books have at least 13 streams of income. A fiction book is a little bit limited. And the way to monetize a fiction book is like high scale, right? To monetize a fiction book, you create merch, you turn it into a series or a movie. That's high level. But with a nonfiction book, you could do smaller stuff. Like you could turn it into a digital download. You could turn it into a master class, a workshop, an online course, like different smaller assets that you can sell to generate revenue. Those fiction authors can't really do that. And they're going to need to put in time and money to get a decent amount of money back. So
Mm-hmm.
when I found out that I landed on something very special when it comes to nonfiction books, I just rolled with it. But I'm also a big believer in investing in knowledge. So the first year that I left home, I had spent about a good 17,000 just in my personal development, my business development, understanding how my business should be set up, how to build sales funnels, how to build book funnels, and like go through and test all that. So the first year was really trial and error. But after that, when I found my audience, I understood what they needed from me. I was able to really sink into that and just fall in love with the space that I was in. I just fell in love with my niche and just sunk into the space that I was in. Like I fell in love with where I was.
Well, you have given everyone a lot to think about, but what I would like for you to do is to give one kernel of information that you would give to a young author or someone who would like to go down your road, being a freelance editor, being a book coach, just basically getting into the publishing industry. What would you tell them?
Oh yeah. Find your mentors. I think that's the
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing. I think not that I didn't make a mistake. It just took me a little bit longer to learn this, but
Mm-hmm.
find your mentors right out the gate because they're going to tell you all the things that Google won't tell you or all the things
Mm-hmm.
that, somebody's YouTube channel won't tell you. That mentor, they've been through the trenches. They know what the industry is like. They know what to expect. They know what pitfalls are there. If you can find that mentor to guide you, I would always do
That's
that.
right.
And same for authors. They say on average, an author who tries to publish a book by themselves will take about 6 years to do it. if you
It's
don't
true.
have a book coach or a publisher, because you're trying to do it by yourself. You don't know what you don't know. You're going to hit all these roadblocks and they're going to deter you. So finding a mentor or a book coach or a publisher that you trust is going to be huge.
Well, to round things up, I want you to tell me about a drink. If we were reading your book, what would we pair your book with? What type of drink would it be? Sassy, but let's see, sassy and sweet. I mean, what would it be?
You know what? I'm sorry, I'm thinking. Okay, because I'm not a huge drinker, but I live in wine country, so I know a lot about wines.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, a deep red, really
Mm-hmm.
any deep red, I think would go with the CEO author, mostly because I want you to feel kind of bougie as you're reading this. Like I want you to feel like, hold on, okay, so as I'm reading this book and I'm mapping out and understand that this book does detail how to use a book in your business, right? So how to generate money. So not only how to write the book, but how to make money off of it. I want you to kind of have in your mind this vision of, okay, I could do the private jets, I can do the vacations, I can live this extraordinary lifestyle because I wrote this really awesome book. So get you a glass of deep red and a copy of the CEO author and just map
I
out
love it.
your life.
Yes, I love a nice glass of Cabernet, Merlot. Yes, I'm a wine drinker. Chianti. Oh, yes. All those deep red we can most definitely do with the CEO author. But I want you to give the platforms, your website, all your information, because I know somebody is going to want to reach out to you.
Yes, ma'am. Well, as I mentioned, you could text the word book to 909-837-4992. You can find me on all platforms as Porsché Mysticque. So Porsche spelled like the car, and then Mysticque is Mystiquue. So the word does not have a C in it, but my name has a C in it. Or you can just go to my website at PorscheSteele.com.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on with us today, and we got to have you back. You're awesome. You got pearls and many, 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 how can I say, lots of information that people would love to know, or at least have you come to the group and help some of the authors so they could say, you know what, I want to be like Porsche.
Hey, I'm here. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Thanks for joining us on AGR Book Talk, where every story is an experience waiting to be shared. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to follow, subscribe, and leave a review. Stay connected with us on social media and let us know what books and experiences are inspiring you. Until next time, keep reading, keep exploring, and keep the conversation going. See you in the next chapter.